Hey guys, and welcome back to the Intelligent Idea Talkers podcast. We're going to start off segment 2.
Part 2.
With Alex Jones, my man, my homie, my ace, Alex Jones, okay?
Quote deep.
I know, right? Hey, look, I'm also the only Trump supporter on the cast, so whatever.
Oh, Jesus
I've been called a Trump
Christ.
supporter.
Listen, get out of the house.
Look,
please.
I didn't say I was a
Just
Trump supporter.
get
I've been
out.
called a Trump supporter, okay?
Jesus Christ. Who
Because
called
of
you
my
that?
views on Trump.
Who called you that?
I'm just saying, Trump is not as the bad guy that we've all been. I've seen articles like, "Is Trump the Antichrist?" and "Is Trump the what?" Come on, man, it's Donald Trump. Like
He's
the
worse
same
than
guy.
the Antichrist. At least the Antichrist had good intentions.
He's the same
He
guy
had
who was
good
in the
intentions.
Little Rascals, man. He was the little dude, the rich kid's father in Little Rascals, man. Like this guy's the same guy who was, he's on a talk show. He's on a, whatever, man. It's just Trump. Alex Jones, though.
So he's always been a narcissistic, crazy asshole.
Yes.
Yes.
So we've known that, though. We do that shit.
So does that mean I have to dislike him any less? I didn't like him then. I didn't like him now. And now he's the president in power. I really
He said he's been a narcissistic. Oh, man. Okay, so Alex Jones is in a little bit of trouble. A little bit of trouble lately. The InfoWars creator, and I'm getting this information from, I didn't know if did you want to lead in anything?
I have a little snippet from the WHSU Public Radio article about Alex Jones, InfoWars host and conspiracy theorist Alex Jones backtracking now says Sandy Hook shooting did happen. So this is a reference to current news that came out. I think it was a couple weeks ago. Came out that a group of parents from the of the Sandy Hook children who were killed in that school shooting massacre are suing Alex Jones because they're claiming defamation. They're suing him for at least $1 million. And for defamation, and because of the fact that they and their families were harassed by Alex Jones, I guess, cult followers or whatever you want to call these people.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's the news. And so now all of a sudden he's decided to backtrack and he said, "Oh, well, I mean, I didn't say it didn't happen. I said that I saw some tapes that made me question whether or not it happened."
I think
Which
he's
is kind of
definitely
same thing.
backtracking because of the lawsuits and money talks and
Bullshit walks.
Bullshit walks. So when
I don't know what that
his
means.
pockets start getting hit, that bullshit got to take a walk. I got to
Yeah.
say what I gotta say what I gotta say so I can keep my money.
Like that.
The InfoWars creator is at the peak of his influence, but faces lawsuits and potential bannings from social media. I mean, I guess besides his pockets being hit, I guess InfoWars does cost a lot of money to run as far as the website.
Is it really?
Can they
It's a
ban you from
website.
YouTube? I guess it's,
They can, but they haven't banned him from YouTube as far as I know.
because he's not showing anything lewd.
And
I
he's
guess
not-
as far as what he's talking about, maybe they could.
Yeah. Like, it's not necessarily... I don't know. I can't say it's not hate speech. He said some really ridiculous things against Jewish people before. I don't know, man. Like, I know he's not banned from YouTube. That's what I know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Facebook has banned him or not, but...
I got a little article here. It says, Alex Jones, in these days, who's been known as peddling conspiracy theories about 9/11, vaccines, and the New World Order. He does talk a lot about vaccines and vaccination, and shit like that. Like, you shouldn't do it when you have a kid, and who knows, man.
we've
It's
all
hard
been
to
vaccinated.
trust. It's hard to know what to
I feel
trust,
okay.
right? But, like, do you ever question those vaccinations? People just do them because they're the norm, but what exactly are we doing?
They do them because of the norm, because for 100 plus or hundreds of years,
People
it
were
wasn't
dying
the
from
norm,
polio.
and people were dying from thousands, from a bunch of different diseases.
All right, well,
and
people
then
still die from a bunch of different
and then they
diseases.
started doing them as the norm because people were living more. So it was like, oh well, I guess everybody should do this.
I don't know.
But are we vaccinating our kid to actually save them from disease or to protect other people around them from what they could potentially have?
Both of them.
Potentially have.
I guess both.
Both of them.
Because I was forced to get vaccines. Like, I don't really have a choice. In Belgium, it's required you have to do it.
Right.
I was a baby,
And
so
I
I
was
didn't have much to say
fine.
about it.
And you don't have to do it in the U.S., I don't believe, but it's just the norm. That's what you do. You take your kids for their shots, like.
But then when you travel outside to a country that has, I don't know, some type of yellow fever or something like that, the U.S. government forced you to get the vaccines, though. So I'm like, if we have to take those vaccines to leave the country, why are we having that discussion when it comes to people in the country?
Freedom.
But
Freedom!
You have no freedom when you leave the
You
country.
need freedom. Not if you're
Like
not American.
when I went to Brazil, I had to take those vaccines. Oh, they were not going to give me the visa. They're not going to allow me to get there.
Mm-hmm.
I guess maybe that's because potentially what you could bring back.
True.
I don't
So
know.
it's to protect other people then.
I say, like
Both
I said, both. You know what I'm saying? Like
Both
you
of
and them. Probably more for them. Probably more for others than yourself. But I imagine it's probably weighed evenly on both. Like.
I thought this was an interesting tidbit, and it's probably the reason that Alex Jones wants to backtrack these comments about Sandy Hook. According to this article and estimates from the New York Magazine, Alex Jones could be pulling in as much as $25 million per year right now. $25 million.
That's a good paycheck.
So if you mess around and get sued, you're going to give up a large chunk of that. And I doubt Alex Jones wants to do that, right? So hence the backtrack. But, what you say in public, like especially in a public space, and backtracking because of some legal woes, it always loses credence to me, man. Like, I just don't buy into it. Like, if he backtracks and says he thinks Sandy Hook wasn't a false flag because he's getting sued, then what does that mean? What does it really mean? Like, I don't even understand the idea of backtracking. Like, take your words back. You already said it. You know what I mean? So, like, when people come on TV, somebody political says,
Well, nobody asked him to backtrack.
Comments.
That's the thing. They asked for an apology.
But
he didn't apologize.
It's recommended
He
by your
backtracked.
lawyers that you backtrack. I mean, anytime, especially
It's recommended to actually think.
Maybe
before
somebody else
talking.
could sue you for the same thing.
right. I guess.
Or if you continue that negative, or if it's a narrative that's considered false, and you continue that narrative and people are being hurt because of it, then maybe that. I heard that that freedom of speech has a limit, and that limit is like something along the lines of crying or yelling fire in a crowded movie theater, or something that's like that's malicious, and something that's not malicious, but something that can actually cause damage, or I'm not sure what the line is, right?
I know what you mean.
Yeah, but there is a limit to freedom of speech, and maybe something like this, him calling this, and the reason they're saying they're suing him is
He's
because
been saying this for a while.
But the families of those children who died, they're being approached by Alex Jones people, and they're being yelled at, they're being harassed with phone calls and emails and all kinds of things, and their kid died. I mean, do they deserve that?
I doubt it, but that calls into question: who has time to look up the parents and harass them? Like, whatever. I guess whatever.
There's a lot of Alex Jones supporters.
True. Like, I mean, I like Alex Jones, but if I wouldn't know a Sandy Hook parent if I saw one.
Remember Pizzagate? There was a guy that actually went over and shot up the place.
But do you think Pizzagate is a real thing?
I know some crazy person went up and shot up a pizza place. It doesn't matter. I don't know. Maybe it happened. Maybe it didn't. They haven't presented evidence saying that it didn't happen. Or they didn't. I don't have evidence
Pizzagate
saying that it did happen. They had something about the logo of the pizza, which was some triangle thing, and it looked like a child. I don't know, man.
Right.
It didn't make sense to me. It's like, okay, I guess like that's a stretch of the imagination by any means, though.
Yeah, but I totally believe that something like that can totally happen and take place.
There's pedophilia. There has been pedophilia. We just caught that guy
Definitely.
and prosecuted him who was offending cheerleaders, or not cheerleaders, but Olympic little girls that were training. But to say that like this guy was a person of position of power in the world because he trained and helped guide these little girls. But somehow this pizza place, because it was owned by Hillary Clinton somehow, and I don't know, dude. It's like such a stretch of the imagination if you actually write it out.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a lot to believe Alex Jones. And mostly anything he says, anything about vaccines or Obama's birth certificate being a forgery or anything, like, it all takes a stretch of the imagination, But let me see. Let me get on with this article a little bit. A couple interesting points in here. Again, this is from Texas Monthly. Maybe I should send this to you so you can look at the same thing, Juice.
Oh yeah.
But let me see. Alex Jones, InfoWars. The website Jones founded to promote his media empire doesn't focus on selling subscriptions to his videos or DVD copies of the documentary films he used to make. Rather, its business is marketing dubiously useful dietary supplements to an audience that has ballooned in size as Jones' profile has increased. Blah, blah, blah. In Obama's second term, Jones began marketing products like Super Male Vitality, a combination of roots, bark, and fruit extract, and Survival Shield X2, quote, just simple iodine, to his listeners and viewers. It seems a fairly logical jump for the host and his audience if there was a super secret them, quote, them out there waging war on your mind and turning the frogs gay. Where's this thing? The turning the frogs gay thing, okay?
This is the thing he said. Like, this video, just Google it. So, Alex Jones turning the frogs gay. He's talking about how stuff they're pouring in the water is turning the frogs gay.
Listen, Alex Jones is nuttier than squirrel shit. I'm not disputing that. But sometimes the crazies make the most sense, right? Like, I said before.
When do the crazies make the most sense?
I said before the cast that
Yoda?
most of the time when anybody says something, like if Alex Jones comes and says the chemicals being poured in the water to turn the frogs gay, you will think this man is crazy. You'll think he's off his not rocker and let's not listen to him. He doesn't know what he's talking about until a verified, accredited source says it. Then you believe it, like CNN.
But why didn't he present the verified, accredited
Bill
source?
Meyer?
He could have broke the story instead of just saying crazy shit.
He could have,
but he
then
doesn't.
He doesn't provide. We have to look deeper at it. Maybe his informants would be in trouble then. Maybe the people who was actually giving him this information would, be
then are they
trouble.
Actually fighting the system, or are they still supporting the system?
Hang on 1 second. Let's see, Michael. Hello. Yo. No, it's go check upstairs. It's that one next to your mom's room. Nah, we don't have that anymore. That thing broke. Threw it away. Alright. Look, you have to cut this out. I left this dude home with Darion. He called me to my Derek. I'm like, alright, let me answer because he's at home with Darion,
Yeah.
He's like, Derek. He's like, yo, you know what a vacuum is? I was like, man, why not even answer this phone, man? Get off the phone, man. He called me I'm in the middle of a podcast,
Vacuum.
man. Yeah, he called me answer with a vacuum.
You made a mess.
But anyway, let's see. I did click on the little link for the homosexual frogs. Alex Jones discusses how chemicals, including estrogen mimickers, are wreaking havoc on both humans and animals. And there's a little video. I'm not going to click on the video, but I guess, Alex Jones is nuttier than squirrel shit, okay? But it's not just me who believes some of the things that he's saying. He obviously has a following. It's pulling in something close to 25 mil a year. And
I wonder how much of that's from those advertisements. People buying the Male Vitality.
Right.
Or
right.
the new weight loss yogurt he sells.
I'm pretty sure it is from some of those things. Most of it. Because of where else is he getting his
he's got
revenue?
a bunch of followers. On YouTube anyway. People follow the website. But I don't know, man. Like, here's the thing. If you make 25 predictions and 2 of them are verified, are you considered a credible source? And the rest are just flagrantly floating out there, just arbitrary assumptions. That's 23 arbitrary assumptions in space, and 2, 1 because I'm speaking of the NSA spying. He was right about that. Everybody knows it. We are in agreement. He was right about
Snowden
that
NSA
Snowden observation. The 9/11 thing is still
he's right about that. How can you?
The 9/11 thing is still debatable. Everybody's still debating it. Definitely debatable. So that's 1.5 things, and he has 25 other things out there.
Stop it.
That are just floating.
He has
arbitrary conspiracy theories.
What else? True. He also has. There's a part in this article that says that what you were talking about earlier. There was a ruling by a judge effectively overruling a jury's decision to grant Jones' ex-wife their children's primary residence. So not only is Alex Jones in trouble as far as being sued or being banned from social platforms, he's also going through something with his ex-wife, who's been awarded a house.
Kids.
Jones and InfoWars went on the offensive against Marjorie Stoneman Douglas student David Hogg, accusing the 17-year-old school shooting survivor of being unable to, quote, remember his lines in a TV interview following the massacre.
Because he stuttered.
Which is crazy. Yeah, who knows? At least it's Alex Jones taking these damn bullets and not us, you know? Like, hey, he can say it. It's his opinion, but people don't like opinions. People don't like opinions anymore, man. Like, I've noticed that, like, even with myself, people get mad at you for your opinion. And guess
But
if your
is
opinion
Alex
if your
Jones-
opinion offends, you can't say it.
But here's the thing: is it just opinion with Alex Jones? Because
It is because he's not presenting any facts. He's not
but
presenting.
what about when your followers take those opinions as facts and then they act on
then?
those facts?
Should they hold the
Is that just
followers
an opinion?
accountable or Alex Jones accountable?
They should definitely hold the followers accountable, but you should also look at the person who's inciting these kinds of.
But then I
things.
guess that's even like
I'm not saying
we
they-
just
I'm
got
not-
off our hip hop.
Nobody's saying nobody's taking anything away from Alex Jones. He's getting sued for defamation.
Mhm.
That has nothing to do with this show. Well, other than the fact he's threatening the people.
Oh, he defames people. That's what he does on his
Right.
show.
But
He's just like
he's-
defamation is the.
But nobody
Name
is
of his
pulling
game.
down his show. It's still on YouTube, full of fact. He still got his website. Nobody's doing anything outside of trying to get, trying to salvage their lives, right? After,
Mhm.
and I'm talking about the Sandy Hook thing, right? But, and of course, it's his freedom of speech. He has the right to say whatever he wants, and people are going to listen. But when people start attacking other people, and if he starts riling up hatred towards other certain groups of people, like what if he starts saying that it's the Mexicans turning the people gay,
Right.
right? What if he starts saying that, and he starts saying it's the Mexicans that are doing this and that, or it's the black people that are doing this and that, and you have enough people believing him? At what point does somebody have to be like, all right, what do we do about this?
I mean, we just got off our.
I'm not
hip-hop.
saying
We
it's
just got off
crazy.
our hip hop topic, and we know hip hop is very influential. This same conversation could have been had about rap music back in the day. You know, is it Tupac's fault that these kids are running around shooting each other in these ghettos? And we would have said no. Like, everybody makes their own opinion. Like, Tupac is just a hip hop artist. He's just spitting poetry.
But
He's
he
just
had an
rapping.
album. He doesn't update his hip hop album every day.
Right.
Right? He doesn't constantly stream out new forms of antagonism every day. Right? He doesn't constantly and in the fact that he was killed is a whole nother thing.
Mhm.
But still, like, if you want to, I don't know, man. It's weird, right? It's a weird position this guy puts freedom of speech in,
It
and the
is.
government definitely shouldn't do anything against him. But I think people have the right to go after him.
People do for defamation, but you know, it's all in the eyes of the beholder. I mean, you know, as many people who are offended by what he's saying, there's other people who enjoy listening to Alex Jones. They said that his site enjoys 2.2 million subscribers. So I mean, that's a lot of people. And regarding the student David Hogg, the 17-year-old he accused of being of being a TV actor, what do they call it, crisis actor.
Mm-hmm.
This says in the article that he has made the same comments in the past regarding the parents of the children murdered in the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting, as my co-host Juice just said. Says that Alex Jones' channel is in real jeopardy after these two incidents. The site runs a 3-strike policy for its content, and if Jones receives a third, he could find himself banned from the site. If that were to happen, Jones will have to find another way to keep in touch with the 2.2 million subscribers the site currently enjoys. Shifting to a free content model has worked out well for Jones because it gives him access to the customer base hungry for his supplements, as well as revenue from the service's robust affiliate advertising program. And losing YouTube could cut him off from millions of viewers. A number of the more mainstream advertisers who found their ads placed on Jones' channel fled after the beef with Hogg began. So he's losing his YouTube supporters, advertising. I mean, is this the most insightful thing Alex Jones has ever said? I feel like I've heard more insightful things, right? And it's weird that the two things that are getting him in the most trouble have to do with children. You know, Sandy Hook and the high school massacre. Was that last month that happened? Yeah, last month.
Well, it's because, like, children are supposed to be our future. Like, if he's railing against something, it's supposed to be for the American people, and it's supposed to be to help the American people live better. And if you're saying that the American kids being shot and killed is because of a government ploy to restrict guns, and you don't have any support for that other than your opinion, man, it's like, well, people get pissed about it, right?
Right. Apparently, Jones has had a feud with Hogg. Was the student Hogg? David Hogg? Jones responded to the YouTube strikes by urging Hogg to support the First Amendment. Ooh. Yeah, support the First Amendment, freedom of speech. And come on his show to debate him. An offer the student initially expressed interest in, then declined, citing Jones' record of attacking Sandy Hook parents. Wow. YouTube may never issue a third strike against Jones. The content that's been flagged by the hosting site isn't much different from material that it seems to find acceptable. So it's fair to question whether YouTube is interested in taking such dramatic action, which would certainly come with some serious blowback from Jones supporters. So they're saying that YouTube may not do nothing to Alex Jones.
I personally don't think they should.
No, they shouldn't. I don't think they should.
I don't think they should, man.
I mean, because it is freedom of speech. It is his opinion.
And they have the right to, though.
I feel like if Jones can't say what he wants to say, as far as in this context and this medium, like, why should you allow music artists to say what they want to say? I mean, why? I mean, where do we draw the line then? You know, I feel like we've had this debate before. Where do we draw the line, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's just freedom of speech. Like, I understand the defamation, and if my name was involved with Alex Jones, I'd feel like, hey, man, I want to go sue this guy, you know, in court because he's, you know, slandering my name and he's affecting my life personally. Plus, he's worth $25 million. I'll take a chunk of that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'll take a little piece of that. Why not?
Hell yeah.
But, you know, it's freedom of speech. So, why, like, would rappers not be allowed to be on YouTube then? Because rappers say insightful things all the time, you know. We've heard "fuck the police" before recently. You know, that's insightful. It causes people to go and spit at the police or throw things at the police.
Is that what causes people to go spit at the police, or is it the
you
police's
can't say
behavior?
It doesn't influence it.
Or is it the officers' behavior in certain communities?
Wasn't there something with Snoop and who else was there that gathered a bunch of people together in L.A.? It might have been Kendrick Lamar, Snoop, and who else was it? It's another rapper.
I don't know.
I'm not sure, but they put out a tweet or something that morning, and they all gathered in L.A., downtown L.A., and they walked to, was it the City Hall or something? Mm-hmm. And they spoke with an official at City Hall, and there was something about the police brutality there. It happened a couple months ago, right? Mm-hmm. So hip hop is very influential. What these guys say matter to people. And if Snoop would have came out there and been like, "Fuck the police" on a megaphone, you might have had people flipping cop cars in the middle of the street and stuff like that. So it's kind of akin to the same thing. They're not talking about Sandy Hook parents.
That's a stretch.
They're not talking about Sandy Hook parents, and that's the difference. But it's a freedom of speech thing, you know.
It is a freedom of speech.
He's not personally attacking. Well, he might be personally attacking that dude, that student. He definitely personally attacked.
It's like there is a limit to freedom of speech, and we have to acknowledge that. And where that line is drawn is blurry.
Do you want to limit the freedom of speech? Do you personally want to limit the freedom of speech?
I think it's important that there are limits to everything. Because I believe in the Second Amendment. I think there should be limits to that. Right?
The truth offends people all the time, but
how do you define what the truth is?
Man.
Right? Like, if people say something enough times, some people believe it's the truth.
Right.
Like, so Bill O'Reilly, there was a situation with Bill O'Reilly and a person who worked at the it was a Planned Parenthood, and it wasn't a Planned Parenthood, mm-hmm. but he was a doctor, and he worked he gave abortions, right? And Bill O'Reilly railed against this particular doctor so many times on his show, right? For years, mm-hmm. he talked about this particular doctor, and he said his name, and he said enough times to at one point, he was saying that this guy he was selling baby parts actually, mm-hmm. and he was doing all these things, right? And then at some point, some guy came up and shot the doctor, and when they stopped the guy was clearly like deranged in his head. But when they asked him, he was like, he had baby parts. He was distributing baby parts. They're doing something with baby parts. The guy almost repeated word for word what Bill O'Reilly said. And it cost this doctor his life, right? This guy was practicing legally abortions. Like that's what he did.
Right.
So it was like, at what point is that yelling fire in a crowded theater?
But I feel like that could happen at any time, though. Like,
Yeah.
I don't
Maybe.
feel like Alex Jones necessarily, or even Bill O'Reilly would have
But
had.
a guy recently went and shot at a pizza place because Alex Jones said
I mean, but
that there was a pedophile ring going
by-
on,
by
and there's
that-
nothing
by
to be
that
found.
standard, you would say that I don't know, a hip hop artist would say rob a nigga, kill a nigga, get him for his shoes. Or
Did you
something.
say
And feel
which
like,
nigga?
And you feel like that,
Like, which
and you feel like
nigga?
that if a dude goes out and shoots a nigga for his shoes, it's the hip hop artist's fault. Like, I believe that. See, it's weird because I would say that there shouldn't be a limitation on freedom of
In
speech.
those two cases,
If you're racist, you should be able to say, I'm a racist and I hate black people and I hate Asians and I hate Muslims and I hate
goddamn it,
Jews.
they can,
And they should be able to say it because
They
I would
can.
appreciate knowing it.
and they do.
But
But there's consequences to that.
there is consequences.
And the government's not going to come arrest you, but you might lose your job at your privately owned place you work at.
All right, so we're arguing semantics.
That's not
I like
semantics.
Alex Jones, and the article goes on to say, and it's just talking about Alex Jones and his recent problems. It goes on to say that but regardless of what happens with Alex Jones and YouTube, those Sandy Hook parents represent another different, potentially serious issue for Jones. This week, 3 of them, Leonard Posner and Veronica De La Rosa, parents of a 6-year-old named Noah, and Neil Heslin, father of a 6-year-old named Jesse, filed suit against Jones, alleging defamation for his insistence that the parents were lying about what happened to their children, and his claims that the media faked elements of its coverage with their participation. Wow. Texas has a 1-year statute of limitations for defamation claims, so the suit filed this week by Posner, De La Rosa, and Heslin refers to a few specific instances of Jones talking about them on his program. In the segment from last April, just before the statute of limitations would have expired, that lives on YouTube under the title Sandy Hook Vampires Exposed. Wow. That's defamation, Alex. Goddamn.
Rough title, man. Jesus Christ.
I mean, you know,
Look, vampires exposed.
but that's his opinion. And I guess where the problem comes in, I'd probably find out if I kept reading this big ass paragraph, is that he used their names specifically. Right?
The names of the parents, I don't know. I never watched the video.
Yeah, me neither. Maybe it's worth a watch. This is why we need video so we can like cut to a 15-second clip of Alex Jones from this thing. Jones claims that a CNN clip of De La Rosa talking with Anderson Cooper in downtown Newton was faked, insisting that an effect that appears on Cooper's nose proves that the interview was taped in front of a green screen. CNN explained that it was a common compression artifact which happens often in video encoding. So, I mean, it's all weird. And they actually do have on this article the little video of Alex Jones talking about it. I'm not going to click it, but wow, man. Alex Jones, I said before that Alex Jones,
play that joke.
if they know who a rapper named Immortal Technique is, underground hip hop, especially from our earlier segment on the Pulitzer, underground hip hop artist, he had a very good interview with Alex Jones. It was probably about an hour and a half, man, maybe even 2. And they were just talking about different things. I don't think Sandy Hook or it wasn't recent, so this latest school shooting didn't come up. But I mean, they were just talking about different things.
We saw the Joe Rogan podcast with Alex Jones. You saw that, Joe, right?
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
The interdimensional child.
I have to credit you with putting me on to Joe Rogan. Yeah, he was talking about like an interdimensional gateway and all this other shit. Yeah, I don't know if I believe any of that. It's fascinating. I want to believe the fantastical. So when I hear guys like Zachariah Sitchin, the human origins and gateways, and I want to believe the fantastical, but you know, it's just a story. But Alex Jones has some good information, man. We can't just totally dismiss the guy. He is
so you watch him,
He is
right?
a crackpot.
Let me just ask. Did you watch him?
Not consistently, but I do happen across InfoWars every once in a while. Yes.
All right. So like when he says, like when he's doing his show, does he like provide links? Like, are there's links, or is there like, does he provide articles to read to follow, or? Or does he say where he's getting it from other than the papers on his desk?
Not so much, but that could have something to do with him wanting to protect his sources. Maybe.
No, he doesn't have to have the names, but if there's an article that he's referencing that gave him the information,
maybe they have those in the descriptions for the videos sometimes. I don't know. I never look.
maybe if he could provide a redacted copy of the paperwork, because he always I've seen him say he's like, I have the documents right here. They're right here in the office.
I mean, come on.
They're right here on my desk.
Come
see,
on.
see, and he says
if we
see,
do
and he's
that-
like he just waves it.
That's a pretty good Alex Jones impersonation, by the way. But if we say that, then how do we know what Joe Rogan says is true? I mean, how do we know what Bill Maher says is true? How do we know what
Joe Rogan puts you on the books. Like Joe Rogan definitely says,
Joe
he's
Rogan
like,
does
check
reference
this
a
book
lot.
out.
Yeah.
Like this is a good ass book. Remember that book? It was like, and he'll say the book, and he'll
Yes, but
and he'll
then-
have the guy come on from the book, and they'll talk about the shit.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it depends. I'm pretty sure Alex Jones has done it before.
Oh,
I don't know.
I don't watch him enough to. I can't sit through. I've seen Alex Jones.
I'm gonna play the video.
rant.
Let's see if it picks
All
up.
right, yeah.
I just want to hear his voice.
Commercial. That guy who commercial.
I just want to hear Alex Jones' voice.
Getting at here.
He does have a unique voice.
Why is this so important? Because we all know they got us into that war saying babies were in incubators and got thrown out on the floor and their brains kicked out. That was by a young man.
Okay, that's all right, Alex. Thank you.
Acting lessons.
I can't
That's how it
pause it. Yeah. Alex Jones did not disappoint with that trick. That's a pretty good Alex Jones impersonation, D. Yo, right after he said that sentence, I looked right at you. And I was like, that's exactly what he's talking about. Yeah, but aborted
Babies on
babies with their
floors.
brains kicked out of it. Brains kicked out.
It's like,
like,
oh
Jesus.
shit! All right, well, all right. Damn, it was 0 to 100 real quick.
Don't worry, Alex. I got you. I'm gonna listen to that when I get in the car, man. I'm gonna listen to Sandy Hook Vampires Exposed, man. All right,
this is
but
funny.
says the initial identifications were made by photographs, blah blah blah. De La Rosa recalled asking to see the body and asking Connecticut Governor Dan Malloy to look at it in a 2013 interview. The body of his child that was killed in the Sandy Hook shooting. Yeah, I mean it's crazy, man. You know, Alex Jones he's in the business of
Conspiracy
taking the
theorist.
bullets, and I'm glad he does. I'm glad we have. I'll say this much for Alex Jones: he's brave because he'll put his opinion out there,
Yeah.
and he might be receiving financial benefits from what he does.
He might be wrong.
He might be wrong, you know,
But, you know, he
but
does it.
Sink might be wrong sometimes, you know. Alex Jones might be wrong. Sink Yerger, from Young
Okay.
Turks.
Yeah.
Alex Jones might be wrong from time to time, you know.
What
These
is
guys
it?
are not right all the time,
No,
you know.
they're not. And Cenk has been wrong, definitely.
But you know, like we have to. I'll say this: Alex
Everybody
Jones
was
is
wrong
brave
about fucking Trump, man. God damn.
because he'll put his opinion out there, and I'm sure these are not the first bullets that he's taken. Honestly, I don't know. Based upon what I've heard and know of Alex Jones, I'm surprised it's the first time he's gotten sued. This is the first time he's gotten sued.
No.
I doubt it because he's very inflammatory the way what he says.
No, because Dan and Yogurt to him.
Okay.
Because he said that
There were baby parts in the yogurt. Probably,
Something like-
yeah, I'm
something
pretty sure
like
it had
that.
something to do with that.
it was something like that, and they were like,
Dan and yogurt
hell
infuses
no.
baby parts into the yogurt. Like, damn.
Yeah.
I was like,
That's
all
what
right.
that is?
I was like,
You're no chewing
I
yogurt.
thought that was a cherry. Yeah, I thought that was a little.
That was a
That
cherry.
was a strawberry.
Turned out the baby
That was a
eyeball.
baby string or something. It's crazy, man.
Baby finger.
Alex Jones, man. Good luck, man. Good luck. Well, I mean, hopefully everything turns out for him. I appreciate Alex Jones.
Barack
views.
Obama is the devil.
I appreciate Alex Jones's views to the extent that he is brave and that he is willing to. He's not part of the mainstream narrative, and I appreciate that, man. You know, he's nuttier than squirrel shit, but I appreciate that he's not afraid to say what he thinks.
I
And
agree.
He's not part of the mainstream good old boy club.
That's actually why I don't think he should be banned.
Not at all. Please don't ban him.
Because I appreciate him being able to say crazy shit. And when you have somebody like Alex Jones out there who can say crazy shit and not get banned, that means that like other shows that speak on actual progressive policies or actual alternative narratives to what's going on in our establishment government, they can still say shit that is actually has support. And if you have some crazy person over here wailing and yelling, they could say, hey, you have him talking, why are you shutting us down?
Right.
But if they shut Alex Jones down, who are they coming after next?
Right.
They're coming after TYT.
Yeah, it's a freedom of speech thing.
All those guys. They're coming after all the liberal side.
And maybe that's the point. Maybe
Like,
they want to come after these guys.
Alex Jones is a false flag.
I want to say
Oh,
Alex
shit.
Jones is a freedom fighter almost. Not fighter in the sense of fighting, but in the sense of his words. I equate him to like the Young Turks. And why does Bernie Sanders have a show? Why does Bernie Sanders have a YouTube show?
He has a YouTube channel. He talks on that jump.
Yeah, I can see.
You should follow that jump. He'd be on that jump talking shit.
I like Bernie Sanders, man. Yeah, if I had a child who was killed in that Sandy Hook thing, and to this day, if Sandy Hook was real, that's one of the most atrocious things I've ever seen. As far as like a mass shooting.
Sandy Hook is real. It happened.
I won't say as far as a mass shooting, but I mean, Jesus, man, to run up in an elementary school and to kill children, right? Like, I want to believe that it was fake because it's
hard to imagine.
It's hard to imagine. It's one thing to shoot up a nightclub or even a high school, right? But an elementary school, you're shooting a 6-year-old, like I would love to believe that thing was faked. But, when you have the parents of the victims, there's only so much fakeness you can get from their anguish.
What's crazy is Alex Jones' reason for saying that it was fake. Like,
did he give a reason?
Yeah. He said the reason is to take away guns.
I have heard that. I've heard that's what a lot of these mass shooting / false flag incidents are about, is gun control, right? But gun control,
But isn't that just justification?
I think this is what we were talking about in the second half of that.
It sounds delusional, man.
That I think the whole gun control thing is kind of delusional, right? Like, you'll never control guns. Like, they'll never be able to take guns out of the public's hands. I think it's too far gone at this point. I mean, I heard something like there's more guns in the United States than people.
Nobody is actually saying to ban guns. Like, nobody.
But do you think that's part of the agenda?
Nobody in the government has ever ran on a platform of we should ban guns. It's not going to work. Nobody's ever run on it. It's a terrible strategy if you do.
Do you think that's part of the agenda, though?
What?
Because banning guns, it would be an unpopular thing to do, especially in an election.
It's
because
unpopular
you want gun
on
owners
the
to
left.
vote for you.
Here's the thing. It's unpopular on the left and the right.
Because you want gun owners to vote for you. So nobody running for any kind of office will run on gun banning. But do you think that's part of an agenda do you think they, and I'm throwing up the air quotes right now, people, want to ban guns? Do you think that's because, right, I mean, a lot of these mass shootings are coming out of nowhere.
I think if there's a they want to sell more guns because it's more money.
Mm-hmm.
I think if there's a they're on the side of the people who are like, hey, Alex Jones, tell these people that these kids died needlessly because the government wants to take your guns away. That's my they. Those are two different theys, right? Those are two very different theys. But if there is a they, that's my they. Like, that's the they that says the Stonewall, the high school shooting that just happened. Like, that's the they that says Hogg is just a crisis actor, and they're out there saying that they're protesting, they're getting all this momentum because they want to ban guns. When nobody I've seen so far in that campaign has said anything about banning guns.
YouTube is fuel for a lot of this stuff too, man. Especially this false flag and crisis actors and stuff, because you can go in there and watch a million videos about these guys proving that Sandy Hook had crisis actors, and you know what I mean. Like, so it's like you just dig deep into it,
proving how like the pyramids are
like the Earth is flat. Yeah,
all right.
Like,
videos proving the Earth.
The sun is closer than we think and whatnot. Yeah, it's just a whole bunch of crazy stuff. We're perpetually
moving forward in space, and that all the rest of the solar system is around us.
It's wild, man.
All right. Okay,
it's wild. Yeah, you kind of don't know what to believe, but I would love to believe that Sandy Hook was faked. You know. Alex Jones, man, hey, you got to handle it in stride, brother. You worth $25 million, or you're pulling in $25 a year. I don't know what your net worth is. Let's see. Let me Google what Alex Jones' net worth is real quick.
Matter.
Yeah, well, I guess if you're getting sued, shit, yeah, it does matter.
Well, yeah, if he's getting sued, I guess so.
Yeah.
But like generally, but like
Yeah,
I don't know, man. Alex Jones, he's a funny guy. You just keep waving that red flag over there. You know what I'm saying? To let everybody else do their actual work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you keep the distractions off. Yeah.
Alex Jones is a crazy dude. All right, it's one more article I definitely want to run. Alex Jones' net worth is $10 million. And that's according to Bankrate.com. Really? So he's pulling in $25 million a year. Was that expenses and?
So you don't think? Well, all right. You said you nuttier than a squirrel shit.
Oh, he
But,
definitely
like,
is.
Have you ever seen him talk about like Barack Obama?
Oh, how he's
and
like
the whole,
Antichrist and all this other shit.
Yeah, and that like he saw a fly land on him or some shit, and that proves that he's like he smells like sulfur.
I've heard that. I heard that about Hillary Clinton. I heard that Hillary
He said
Clinton
the
smelled
same
like
shit
sulfur.
about.
Yeah,
He said the same shit about Hillary Clinton.
because they believe that these people are like, what is it?
Does
like,
he talk about reptilians?
reptilians? He talks about like
But
how
wait,
these
he
people
talks
are
about
clones.
reptilians, but hasn't looked at Mnuchin and seen that if there is a reptilian, Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary, is obviously one, as well as Trump. Like if you just tint them green, they are lizard people.
They talk about how like they'll seed humans, like so they'll take the human.
But he's on their side.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't understand it, man.
It's all conspiracy theory shit. If you don't.
Alex Jones is biased. He's not. He is absolutely biased. I'm sorry. I'm still railing on
he
Alex
definitely
Jones.
is.
Man. I just got a lot to say about him because he is completely biased. Because Obama, I've seen footage where he said he supported.
I did see that though. He said a fly landed on Obama's eyeball or something like that. Or, like he didn't flinch or something.
Yeah,
But maybe he didn't feel it.
It didn't land on his eyeball.
Well, I'm just
It was
saying.
on his shoulder.
I might
I
be
saw the video.
exaggerating. I might be exaggerating with his eyeball, but that'd be funny as hell if a fly flew in your eye. You did. That's just you let it crawl over your eyeball. I might question you too off that shit. What the
But
fuck?
he'll say things for one. Like he'll rail against Obama, like the things he said against Obama, and Trump would do the same thing, and he'll like praise Trump for it. Mm-hmm. It's like he's absolutely biased, and I wonder, like I think he's racist.
He is biased.
I think he's racist.
I'll say
I
that
think
he-
if
I've heard he was friends with Obama, with Trump before Trump was even running for president.
Trump was a fan of the show,
So
Why you
maybe
think Trump's
that.
so crazy,
he's
man?
had Trump on his show before Trump was president.
Yeah, why do you think Trump's so crazy?
So, you know, you kind of excuse him for being friends with Trump. Like, you know, he knew the guy, you know. So that's just I guess maybe a human connection. But I did hear that about Obama and Hillary. That
He
they
said-
Yo, I'm sorry, guys. That he smells like sulfur and all this other shit. They
Like-
smell like sulfur.
like he says, like Michelle Obama is like a man.
Or what's the Bohemian Grove is the other joint where all the people go to worship who is it Set, or there's like an owl there.
But even
and
if
they do
that's the
human
thing, why is
sacrifice
he
and
so
all that.
Christian?
Well, I don't know.
He's so Christian. But he's a conspiracy theorist. Like, I just don't understand, man. Like, he's so hypocritical, dude. Like, he's one of the craziest people.
But shit, most politicians are hypocritical.
Like, he believes in
Obama was hypocritical.
reptilians and God and Jesus.
Obama,
But you can't believe all that shit if you're actually. So what are you?
Obama was hypocritical. I mean, Obama ran on
Dude,
the black.
we're talking about completely different things here, dude.
Yeah, but
We're talking
you-
about
we're talking about saying,
reptilians and Anunnaki versus Obama's policy on marijuana and
I mean, come on.
and
We're talking
healthcare,
about
right?
what
Like,
Alex
that's
Jones
very
has
different
said
things.
versus things that Obama has said, and Obama has
Nope.
said
We're talking
hypocritical
about things Alex Jones
Obama ran on the
supposedly
black
believes.
ticket, and he ran on the back of black people because he knew he was going to get that vote, and he knew black people were going to come out in droves to vote for him. But honestly, what did Obama do specifically for black people when he was in office?
That's a bullshit. Well, here's
name,
what I'm saying.
name something
Alex
that Obama
Jones
did
is
specifically
crazy,
for the black
but
community.
we're not talking about Obama. Dude.
Did
We're talking
Obama
about
talk
how
about
crazy
reparations?
Alex Jones is.
I mean,
we're
yes,
talking
but
about the
you were
fact
saying
that
that
this
in
guy.
reference to Obama or Alex Jones.
We're talking about the fact
Obama.
that this guy talked about, I forgot what the guy's name, but he talked for 10 minutes about how Jewish he looked. And he said he was a person who ate baby parts, and he was in the fact that he was it was all these like super anti-Semitic things that were
Okay, but what's the
repeated.
difference between what Alex Jones says about Obama or and what TMZ says about Jennifer Love Hewitt or something. I mean, it's all speculation.
TMZ
They'll say
saying-
that
No,
they'll say that
We're talking
Jennifer
about
Love Hewitt was
supernatural shit. We're talking about.
They'll say that they saw
We're
her
talking about
drunk.
interdimensional child molesters from
fine,
Zeta Reticuli.
but it's slander and it's
very
talk,
different.
and it's it's.
There's a
What they're
psychological
talking about
component.
is different,
There's a
but
psychological
what
component
they're
to
doing
this.
in the context that they're talking is the same thing.
There's a grasp of reality that Alex Jones is missing. If we're talking about Jennifer Love Hewitt sleeping with some other actor, then and whether or not she's doing it, that's interesting.
His
I
grasp
guess.
of reality,
But
you
we're
can't hold
talking
that
about
against him.
whether or not they're pedophiles coming from a dimensional portal from another planet. Like,
All right, that's fine.
very different.
That's fine, and you can
Significantly
be
different.
hypocritical in your opinion about those things. I'm talking about when you're actually referencing people and facts, and even though he compared Obama to a reptilian or said he was smelled of sulfur and all that, that's like TMZ saying Jennifer Love Hewitt smells like sulfur. It's
But they
just an
didn't
opinion.
say she smells like
but
sulfur.
but you
Because
see
it's
what
a
I'm saying,
strange
though.
thing to say.
You see what I'm saying? It's an opinion.
If TMZ
Don't
said
vilify her for
Jennifer
that.
Love Hewitt smelled like sulfur, the implications of that statement would laugh TMZ off of the fucking air because we all
They
understand
say crazy
that
things
they
like that all the time.
lie. No, they don't.
They say
Not
crazy
smells
stuff
like
about
sulfur.
I mean, come on. I'm not
If we're
talking about specifically
lies,
sulfur.
I'm talking about grasps on reality.
Okay, all right. Are we questioning his grasp of reality, or are we
Yes!
questioning what he says?
We're talking about how
about
crazy
people.
Alex Jones is and his grasp on reality and how it's
Well, that's
not
what's
really
made him
there.
famous. Is his non-grasp on reality and what he says.
Right.
So that's what. Why would he stop saying the thing that made him famous?
Because it's crazy.
I don't know. I think you run into problems when you start referencing actual people. Maybe not the president, because the president is one of the most popular people in the world. So you can reference Obama and Trump all day. But when you start referencing parents of children who were killed, on your show and defacing them, that's when you run into problems. Sorry, Alex, you are nuttier than a squirrel shit, but I'll listen to your program every now and then. I'm not an avid Alex Jones follower. I'm not an avid Young Turks follower, but I listen to, I try to be open to everybody.
Next time you check it out, just let me know if you see any links or anything.
I did hear that Obama and Hillary Clinton smell like sulfur, though. I did hear that. So I'm like, how do you know what sulfur smells like, first of all? Because you don't just smell sulfur. Like, they smell like brimstone and whatnot. Like, you don't just smell that shit in your everyday, Like, it's not like you're walking through your kitchen and you smell potpourri or something. I don't know what sulfur smells like. What the fuck? Like,
Alex Jones knows.
I guess apparently he does. Alex
He
Jones
probably
been
tried
on
to
a lot of
summon some
sulfur.
shit back in the day. His crazy ass.
I mean, he does a lot of like enhancement pills.
Alex
Maybe he
Jones,
has-
who did you try to summon?
Yeah, sulfur and shit. He said it smells like brimstone.
Tried to summon the Antichrist.
All right, good luck, Alex Jones.
Crazy ass.
Before we get up out of here, man, I did want to bring it back to our favorite non-quarterback Colin Kaepernick of the last year, 2017, who was made famous a couple years ago for kneeling during the national anthem. And we all know the NFL is a huge, huge stage for political purposes as well as social purposes, because the NFL has so much attention on it. Anything that you do that is politically driven, socially driven, economically driven, there'll be a lot of light shined on it. So Colin Kaepernick started kneeling during the national anthem. This was in the 2016 season. Last year was 2017. He didn't play. Started kneeling during the national anthem. And the movement that he made, the statement he was making, took off. Next thing you know, players all around the NFL are kneeling during the national anthem. And somehow that got parlayed into, from Colin Kaepernick kneeling to oppose police brutality against minorities, to Colin Kaepernick hating the American flag and disrespecting the troops because he's kneeling during the national anthem where you're supposed to stand and show respect.
I wonder what side of the argument Alex Jones is on that.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm pretty sure we can find out. But
He hates Kaepernick.
so yeah, it's crazy the way this thing took off, right? I mean, next thing you know, like, people are mad at Colin Kaepernick. He's one of the most influential people, yet one of the most hated people of 2016. People are all on the bandwagon. Oh, he hates America. He's disrespecting America. You had people going back and analyzing the words to the national anthem and quoting the second stanza of the song that very few people know about, and actually looking at the lyrics and how the song actually came into existence. And the song was
what I
written by a
love about
racist.
America nowadays, because we have, and not just America, but the internet, right?
Oh, the
that
internet.
people can find that out and share that
Right.
information and have it catch fire like that. I'm like, oh shit.
Which is why internet neutrality is so scary. And
Oh man,
it's just when they try to start controlling the internet, we're in real trouble, man, because that's our big means of communication.
I wonder what side of table Alex Jones is on that one.
Who knows, man? Uncle Alex Jones does not want net neutrality.
I don't
man.
think so either.
Yeah,
I
there's no
definitely don't
way.
think he does.
But
He ain't
so
going to Fosse that. Crazy.
Colin Kaepernick, kneeling during the national anthem, took off all over the NFL. People all over the country are talking about it. People on morning talk shows, and Colin Kaepernick is getting speaking appearances, and he's getting invited to speak at universities, and basically he was released by the 49ers at the end of that season. He only played a couple of games. I went on record as saying back when Colin Kaepernick started all this that he was not really doing so well with the 49ers before that. He was really known as this is a stigma about black quarterbacks in the NFL, that they're more athletic, that they're not smart enough to play the position, right? Because when you drop back, you have to be able to analyze the defense and throw the ball to where it's supposed to go, or check out of that passing play to a running play. And there's this stigma about black quarterbacks that they don't succeed, right? Like, they are more of athletic quarterbacks, so they'll look to run first instead of passing. And obviously, the run-first quarterbacks are not as successful. The Tom Brady's, the Peyton Mannings, all the top-tier quarterbacks are passers. They don't look to run. They look to throw the ball. So Colin Kaepernick definitely falls into that category, which could have been a bad thing for him because
Why it gotta be a black thing?
Because it is. Look at RG3. We had one of the most exciting black quarterbacks here with the Washington Redskins. Or excuse me, the Washington football team. And he flamed out of the league because he was known as a running quarterback. But I'm glad I brought up RG3.
But aren't there no good black quarterbacks that are passers?
We've had a couple. I mean,
I don't know
the Redskins,
NFL like that. I don't know football like
the
that.
Redskins had one of the first black quarterbacks to ever win a championship. Not one of, the first black quarterback. The Redskins had the first black quarterback to win a championship with Doug Williams in 1987. So
He was a passer or a runner?
is he the only one to win, the only black quarterback? No, Russell Wilson won one. There's only in the whole Super Bowl era, this is about to be Super Bowl 51, I believe, coming up this next year, 52. There's only maybe 3 or 4 black quarterbacks who've led their team to victories. All the other 40-some-odd Super Bowl champions are white. So there's this stigma that blacks are not good enough at the position, that we can't do it.
Sounds
And
self-reinforcing,
based upon
doesn't
number
it?
history, we haven't.
Sounds self-reinforcing, though. If you're scared that they can't do it, then how many would you give the chance to do it?
But I'm glad we brought up RG3 because RG3 has a job in NFL now. RG3 was known as a run-first quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, 2017, RG3 and Colin Kaepernick were both out of football. They weren't signed to a team. This offseason, RG3 got signed to the Baltimore Ravens, right?
Mm-hmm.
Colin Kaepernick is still without a job. And the title of this article I pulled up, it was a report from the Daily Snark, says that, yeah, I know, right? The Daily Snark. I don't know what I keep pressing the back button for. But basically, Colin Kaepernick had a postponed, the Seahawks postponed the visit with Colin Kaepernick because he refused to stop kneeling during the national anthem. So his counterpart that everybody kind of compares him to is RG3. He's signed to a football team at this very moment. So he gets to go into training camp this coming June and July, and he gets to practice with the team and possibly make the team because he's not kneeling for the national anthem. Colin Kaepernick refused when he was asked by the Seattle Seahawks to stop kneeling. He refused and decided that he was going to keep kneeling. So the Seahawks, being the ones in the positions of power, denied him the visit. And an update to the article, they signed another quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So they skipped over Colin Kaepernick and they signed another backup quarterback to Russell Wilson.
Because
Colin Kaepernick refused to stop kneeling.
which means
What time is the time to stand up for what you believe in? And what is the time to...
succumb to a racist organization?
I mean,
Dude.
capitalism itself might be racist. You have to choose between putting food on the table for your family or standing up for what you believe in. That is a real dichotomy and a real plight that a lot of people face, especially people who are in influential positions. They get a lot of notoriety and fame. As far as a NFL quarterback, especially the quarterback is probably the most famous person on the team. We said this before.
You don't understand.
If
Dude,
Colin
you
Kaepernick
said
was a
two
kicker,
really racist things about this situation
If Colin-
so far, and those things are incredibly racist. Like, black people have a stigma of not being able to make it all the way through to win a championship as a quarterback because they're not passers.
It's true. That's what they think.
And
based
that's
upon
what they
history,
think.
and based upon history, they're right, almost right, because black quarterbacks don't.
I would love to see an actual study done as opposed to a stigma that black people have not the ability to pass as well as white people do.
Well, based upon
And
the
then-
numbers, they have not, because out of the 52 some odd Super Bowls that have been played, only 4 of them have been won by black quarterbacks.
You know, you ask surveys for
But
statistics
I will
from
say-
thousands of people about a particular issue.
But
This
that's
is
not
52 Super Bowls.
You don't have to have a survey for that. That's
No, I'm
proven
not.
history.
I'm not saying. I'm saying this is 52 Super Bowls.
I'll say
this
that-
isn't even 100 Super Bowls.
I'll say that if there was not the stigma about black quarterbacks, then maybe more black quarterbacks would have gotten a chance to
An
win, which
opportunity.
means that more quarterbacks would have won championships.
Isn't that like saying that black students don't do so well in particular standardized testing, and therefore they should be passed over for particular?
Well, you have to look at
options or
if
jobs or
black students are
opportunities?
not doing as well in standardized testing. You have to look at maybe the living conditions, maybe the home conditions.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they come from a single parent home. Remember, the lady for the town hall meeting was saying that
But
kids
you
in
do.
her
But if you
area
don't-
were being
but if you
affected
don't
by
look at that stuff.
the waste and everything that was around the school. So maybe they were dealing with sicknesses that weren't as prevalent in other areas.
Have they did a study on these black versus white football players' eyesight? Have they done a study on their
I'll say this much for the NFL.
They drilled it down to athletic ability and said black people run.
I'll say this much for the NFL.
Run better than they do for passing. I don't know. I feel like there's not enough research. Like, if that's the consensus after a significant amount of research, then okay, I'm cool with that. But to me, initially, and me, of course, not knowing much about NFL, initially, it sounds really racist.
The NFL is really racist. I mean, a lot of
As we
these
see
companies, this
from-
country is really
As
racist.
we see from the fact that Kaepernick got passed over for a position he was probably
Because
pretty well
he
suited
refused-
for
because he refused to stop kneeling.
Because he didn't kneel. And why didn't he kneel? I thought we were all for freedom of speech 10 minutes ago. But all of a sudden,
when you
because
work
he
for a
didn't kneel,
brand, when you work for a
Alex
company,
Jones can say crazy, ridiculous
but
things.
Alex Jones doesn't work for the NFL. If Alex Jones
Alex
had a
Jones can
sponsorship
say
with the
crazy,
NFL,
ridiculous
he couldn't say
things
all that
because
shit.
of freedom of speech.
Right.
But Colin
But you
Kaepernick
work for a team.
and we agreed also that Alex Jones probably shouldn't be pulled from YouTube because technically Alex Jones works under YouTube. I mean, he doesn't work for them, but he's hosted by YouTube.
He's hosted
if
by
they
the video
decided
service,
to
yes.
pull him, they could.
They could.
Right. So we agreed
Just
that
as the Seattle Seahawks could not give Colin Kaepernick a position on the team.
But we agreed that they shouldn't pull Alex Jones, right?
We do.
Right. So should we agree that the NFL should allow Kaepernick to use his freedom of speech to kneel?
You work for a brand. Maybe they don't want you using your freedom of speech for that. They want you to go out there and play football. You know, maybe that's what they want.
So this is a racist organization. I think that's all it really comes down to.
Well, I mean, most organizations can pick and choose. I'll say this much for the NFL. When you are a player in NFL, you are a product. You're a stock, right? So when they go through the combine, where they measure all your measurables, how high you can jump, how fast you can run, how long your reach is, how long your arms are, how long your legs are, like how smart you are, to give you an aptitude test. They do that for everybody.
I want to see the aptitude
white,
test.
black, Samoan,
I want to see the
Spanish.
aptitude test for the black NFL players versus the white NFL.
I don't think there's a.
Not
I don't
players,
think they have a.
but for quarterbacks.
They have a test
I
called
want to
the
see
Wonderlic.
a layout.
They have a test called the Wonderlic test.
If they study that and they drew the consensus that
I'm not sure they do
football
a different one for each
quarterbacks.
race. I think they give the test to everybody.
But
But
you know who your race is if you're doing
Right.
it individually. That's not a.
But then by that standard,
if
you get hired by
drew
any
that
company,
conclusion from
they
that,
can look at your race.
then maybe. If they drew their conclusion from that, maybe. But a stigma is a stigma. It is nothing but superstition if it's not based on any facts.
I mean, if a company hears your name and you have too ghetto sounding of a name, right? They can decide not to call you. Oh, we're not going to call this black person because look at their name.
I mean,
we don't want them representing us.
Racist.
It's racist, but it's kind of the way the cookie crumbles in this country, you know.
So this is okay for them to be fucked over because their name is.
I'm
different.
saying my point of bringing this article up is, when is it time for you not to stand upon your principles, right? And I'm not saying that what Colin Kaepernick did was the wrong or the right thing, but should he have thought a little harder about this
before succumbing.
he would have been a sellout if he would have did it. Like if I would have saw this article and they just said Colin Kaepernick has agreed to stop kneeling and sign with the Seattle Seahawks, I would have been like, okay, I feel you need a job, but you sell out. You know what I mean? Like I would have thought that, but
Old ass Uncle Tom.
But at the same time, it's like, man, Colin, you need a job, and you obviously would have made more with this football contract, which is why you wanted to try out for them. Then you would
Sometimes
have been
making
making money
more
on your
doesn't
own.
mean as much as principles.
It doesn't, but you have a family to feed.
Does it?
And principles is not going to. Your
He's
family
still gonna-
can't
he's-
eat principles.
He's still gonna have money though. It's not like he's
He's
gonna
still
be
got money.
broke. Like now that he's actually into social justice
He's
and he's like,
activist.
Yes.
he has the one drop.
But nothing
Come
is
on,
like
he's
that
gonna-
football money, and he was playing football for about 5 years before that. So who
might-
knows if he has a house? He probably
He
has
might- he
cars.
might-
He has
he
a
might
support.
not-
He might have a
not
child
have-
support.
He might not have the same lifestyle,
If he
but that
didn't
doesn't mean
need
that
this
he's
money,
not gonna.
Dude,
If he
There's
didn't need this
football
money, he
players who-
wouldn't have went out for this position.
Dude,
and
there's
he went out
football
for it, and
players
they
who
told
went
him
their
stop
entire
kneeling.
careers in the NFL and came out broke at the end.
Right.
At the end, if they sold out for just to go broke at the end, what's it matter?
Well, it depends. Hopefully, Colin Kaepernick is smarter than to go
Most
broke.
of them.
I think nowadays,
Most of those people didn't have the opportunity or have the wherewithal or understanding to realize that
think-
this would have been such a big issue. But Kaepernick did, and I think he chose this.
Right now,
I
a
don't think
lot
it's
of
about
these-
them passing him over. I think he
Oh, no,
decided.
he definitely chose it. Yeah.
he chose this. He's like,
Yeah,
fuck
he
that,
chose it.
man.
Let-
I'm
let's-
going to stand
let's-
for my principles.
They
Let's look
asked him to
let's
stop,
look
and he
at it this
refused.
way. Let's look at it this way. How long can a person really play football?
It depends. I mean, it's a whole bunch of factors, injuries, previous injuries.
Give
An
me
average.
an average. What's the age they usually stop?
The average, it's sad. The average age for an NFL player or the length of an NFL player's career is about 4 years,
Okay,
4
he's,
seasons.
he's been playing for 5. That's what you said,
Right.
right? So, okay, let's say he had at least another 2 years to play to be like on top. And then
But see,
he'll
we don't
have-
know that
and
because he
then-
could play for
and
another
then
10.
Maybe
You said an
Maybe not.
average of 5 years. That's what you
Right.
said. So
But we've-
let's say
mean-
say we'll have give him another 2 years to play, right? And after that, he will have what? What else will have done after that? Like do like sport critics, like whoever
It
does
depends.
that.
Money breeds opportunities, and you can make a lot more money
Yes.
by not doing this one thing.
Yes,
you can make
but
a
like,
bigger name for yourself being an
trying-
idol in history.
What I'm trying to say is that okay, he's not gonna get the NFL money he could have done if he had actually chose to stop the whole thing he's doing right now. But his choice is gonna lead to a longer and different path that's gonna bring so much money too. Because now he's gonna have all those like sponsor from all those like philanthropists and all those people who went to social justice. He's gonna be the
true.
face. He's gonna be the face of. He might be the face of Nike or something like that. It was gonna be like $1 million contract.
He would have had a better chance at that sticking with the NFL. I think we're discrediting
Yes,
how
but
big of a
like-
platform the NFL is. And I think
How big of a
Yes.
platform
Some of
really
his
is the
platform
NFL? How
was
many
huge.
Kellogg's commercials can you
No,
what are
do?
you
but
talking
like-
about? It's huge.
How
He
many
wouldn't have
Nike-
been.
how many
do you
Nike
think-
commercials can
Do
you
you
do?
think if Colin Kaepernick was a kicker on the San Francisco
I
49ers
know
and was
for a
kneeling, he would have
fact-
been this big?
I know
No,
for a
he's a
fact
quarterback.
Kevin Hart has a Nike commercial. He's got a shoe.
and the NFL.
And
the-
he doesn't-
Nobody knows
he's
about
a
that shoe. Though.
comedian.
Nobody buys that shoe.
He's a
the
comedian.
NFL is specific to America, right? Nobody else outside America watch it. He's reaching out so much broader audience right now that's gonna give him so much more opportunity. He's not gonna get the same money as the NFL. We
Money
agree.
breeds
We
opportunity.
we agree that, but that doesn't mean that
Because it keeps him
that
in the
doesn't-
public spotlight.
That doesn't mean that he's not gonna have.
How many of us were talking about Colin
on, you're
Kaepernick
cutting
for the
off.
last week before
Like,
this?
he just won the whatever international Amnesty International award.
Yeah, he did.
That-
he did.
That is
Based
just,
upon what
that's
he
just-
did in the NFL.
that's
He
just-
knelt as a part
yeah,
of
but
an NFL
that's
team.
just
So
a
now he's not a part
Why
of
would
the
he
NFL
stop
team.
kneeling?
But
So you have to.
But that's just a milestone to so much more. Now he's actually getting into that whole peace and justice conflict resolution that has so much money.
We all
So
know.
much money.
We
It's
all
not
know-
the same as the NFL, but that doesn't mean that he won't have a lot of money and a lot of opportunities.
Doesn't mean he won't
because
have
of the
opportunities.
path he
That's
just
fine.
took.
That's fine. But if all that is true, he wouldn't have went out for this NFL job.
I think you're
I think the
overestimating the
fact that
size
he
of the
went
NFL,
out-
dude.
because
I'm sorry,
of-
dude.
Way,
I
dude.
think
because
you-
that's
What are you
all
talking
he
about?
knows.
Do you
I
know how
think you're
big the
overestimating the
NFL
size.
is?
I know how big
The
it is.
NFL generates
I know it's
billions of
smaller
dollars
than
in revenue
soccer
a
in the
year.
world.
It doesn't matter. It generates billions of
It's
dollars.
way
That's-
smaller than
the
soccer.
Washington Redskins alone, 1 out of 32 teams, it's worth over $1 billion.
Infinitely smaller than soccer.
It doesn't matter, dude.
So
In
what are
our
we talking
world,
about?
the NFL is huge.
What are we
Colin
talking about?
Kaepernick was an
Are we
NFL
talking about
quarterback.
influence?
You knew about Colin Kaepernick. You don't even watch it.
I didn't know
You
about
don't
Colin
even watch
Kaepernick.
football,
I
but
didn't
you knew
know
about
about
Colin Kaepernick.
Colin Kaepernick before he knelt.
There you go. And you know why
So
kneeling was big? Because he was in the NFL.
Kneeling if it gave him such a big platform?
He was in the NFL. Do you think
Why
if he was
would
a
he
soccer
stop
player and he was
kneeling?
kneeling, it would have been as big? I don't think you would have known about
Why
it.
would he stop kneeling if it gave him such a giant platform?
Because he needs a job, D. He went out for the interview.
Believe me, he's good. He's
was
good.
contacted by the C. If he was good, he'd have been signed. There's 32
Good
teams.
in what? Football?
There's
Or
32
good,
teams.
or good in how much money
Are
he's
you
gonna
talking about
make,
he's
or if
good in
gonna
general? He's good. He doesn't need
Yeah.
to be signed.
Yes.
Then why did he go for the job? He
'Cause
would
he's
not
still
have
kneeling.
been. He would not have been eligible for the job. He would have
Maybe
not
he likes
accepted
playing
the
football.
contact from the Seattle Seahawks.
Maybe he likes football.
And he likes
Maybe
getting
he
paid.
wanted to play.
And
But he
likes
didn't
getting
want to
paid.
give up
You know,
his
you know-
principles to play a game.
No, bro, you're not gonna play football professionally for
and not
free.
and give up your principles?
You know how hard you get hit out there. You're putting
Dude,
your
you're
health
not
at
gonna.
risk.
You're not. So you're saying you're not gonna play football without giving up your principles? That's what you're saying.
I'm asking.
You're not gonna play for
the
the
move
NFL
that he
if
made
you give up your
a
principles.
good move.
It's fine.
Is the move that he made a good move?
So,
Yes.
It's
a good move.
Well, because you're not making that money
Wait.
that he could potentially make with this.
Neither are you.
Why-
Why,
why-
do you
why-
think?
There you go.
So you think it's a
So
bad move?
I'm saying that
you think
if-
it's a bad move
I'm saying that he maybe should have thought about it a little bit more because
before he decided.
if you got
before he
contacted by
decided
the
he didn't
Seattle
wanna do
Seahawks
it.
today, right? And they said, "Daniel, we want you to come in and talk to us about being a part of the team this season." Okay, you go in there and they say, "Well, we'd like to have you as part of the team, but we can't have you kneeling anymore and protesting the national anthem." Daniel, what do you say to that?
Well,
yay or nay?
If I had the same history,
In
as
that
Kaepernick,
moment, Colin Kaepernick
if
made
I
a
had
choice.
the same history as Colin Kaepernick, I would stand up for my
If Colin
principles.
Kaepernick did not need
If
that
I
money,
was in the same place,
he would not have
and
accepted the
same-
phone call. He'd have been like, "You know what? I'm good.
If
I don't
I
need
was
an
in the
interview.
same
I'm
place,
okay."
if I was in the same place and the same
He
history
went.
of Colin Kaepernick, and I loved playing football, which I don't, but if
If
I
they-
was in the
if-
same
if-
place and I wanted to play football, but I wanted to keep my principles, and they said, "No, you can't keep
if-
your principles and play this game," then I would turn them down too.
If they said nothing about
Okay.
him kneeling, if they just said, "Hey, we want you to come in, you're perfect, come
You don't
on
think
in,"
he would be
would have
playing?
been a part of the team. So
He
don't
would
say he
play.
doesn't need it.
He can kneel. You don't think he
So-
would be playing if he could kneel?
So don't say he
Can I-
doesn't need
can
it.
I
He
Well,
needs
you
it.
don't think he would be playing if he didn't kneel?
He might not. He might not
Can I-
be
can
because
I-
he
He
wasn't
can
doing
kneel.
that well.
Can I say
Yeah.
something before? Like, you guys are kind of yelling. So can I
Well,
add something? Thank you.
It's a very passionate
But
issue.
I can hear that. I can hear
Could
that.
be.
First,
care about football.
why are we assuming that the choice he's making is also wrong? Like, because you're like, is he making the right decision? So there's an assumption that
nobody's saying
there's
that
an
it's wrong or
assumption-
right.
There's an assumption
I'm
that
saying-
a choice, there's a right and wrong answer.
What
I'm
would
saying
done?
that you need. I'm saying
And
that
sec-
you need a paycheck, right?
Who
now,
said he's
obviously,
not going to get a? He's not
obviously,
getting a
that's
paycheck?
proven by him showing up to this interview. If he did
That's
not
not proven by him
need-
showing up to the interview.
If he
That's
did not need
that's
a
an
job,
incorrect
he
assumption.
would not have shown up.
That's a wrong assumption. You're assuming that.
That's not an
How
assumption.
long
that's
has he
fact.
been? How
showed
long
up
has he?
for it.
How long has he been?
And
playing?
do you know what? Do you know
say
what?
he's been playing for 5 years. How much money did he accumulate in the 5 years?
Who knows? Who knows?
Right.
But
so
he
it's not
obviously
like
needed
he's
more.
It's not like he's broke.
He obviously. You don't know that.
so-
You don't
You
know.
don't
if
know
he's
that
broke.
either.
You
So
are-
you're assuming he
Bruh.
is.
You
I'm
are
assuming he's
assuming.
not.
You are assuming.
All right. Well, let's
So,
Google
you are
Colin
assuming-
Kaepernick net worth real quick. Let's see.
You're assuming
Yes.
that he went to the interview because he actually needed the money, and not because
Yes.
he has, and not because he hasn't
Yes.
been, and not because he hasn't been playing for a long time. He actually just missed the playing that goes with
Bruh,
it.
you would not. If that's the case, NFL players wouldn't make $8 million a year. They love playing. You don't need to pay them that much. I don't need $8 million. I'll take $400,000. I love playing. I just love playing the game. No, they do it for the money. These contracts are massive.
They do it for
You
the
know?
money.
Do you know
That's all.
That's bullshit.
that's one of
That's
the
wrong.
perks of making it to the professional
It's a
level?
perk.
It's
It's
one
a
of the
perk.
perks.
That's a perk.
So you go from college
lot
and you're
of
not
money.
making anything,
So
and you get to the
is-
professional
is
level,
the
and you're making
money
$5
the
million a
only-
year. Yeah,
Is
it's
the
not like
money
getting paid.
the
So
only
what about-
drive the house?
What about the people in college who don't get paid shit for playing, but they get wrecked?
That's a different.
Do they do it for the money?
That's a different dynamic.
Do they
D,
do it for the
because
money, though?
You're not getting paid yet.
Do they do it for the money?
Your
They can't do it
aspirations
for-
as an athlete is to make it to the
can't
professional
do it
level.
for the money because they don't get paid.
Your aspirations as a collegiate athlete is to make it to the professional level. That's
they
the dream.
can't.
That's the goal. If you're a college
And how
baseball
many
player, you
all
want
right,
to make it to the major
How
leagues.
many? How many?
If you're a
get,
college football player, you want to make it to the
How
NFL.
many get pulled from college for NFL percentage? 50?
Well, I mean, it
Is it
depends.
50%?
College rosters are 96 players. NFL rosters are 53. So there's a significant culling there. You're not every player on a college team is going to make it to. And I'm sure there's some guys in college and some guys in the league.
Some make it. But
And some guys in the league love
What are we
playing
talking
the
about?
sport.
Are we
Of
talking
course
about
they love
60,
playing it.
70% to make it?
What? How is this relevant to the conversation? That
Because is it for the money? Because if they're not getting paid in college and they can't get paid in college, are
you're
they
not
doing
getting-
it for the money?
you're not getting paid in college.
They're not.
You get
They
an offer
can't
to
do
come
it
to a
for the
professional
money.
team where you can make $5 million a year. You have to say the money is a part of it now.
Okay,
I made it
if
to
they-
a level
if they
where I'm
offered-
making
so if
enough
they
money
offered-
to generationally
you're saying-
support my family for the next generation.
So
Like,
you're
I
saying
can't-
if they offered these college students $100,000 a year, they will play for the NFL because
You know,
it's
there is
more
actual talks of
because it's more money than they're getting.
You know-
so they would jump right into the NFL and it's 100,000. It's more money than they're getting. It doesn't matter. Like I'm going in, I'm getting paid. It doesn't matter. They could wreck me all day. It doesn't matter, right? So at that point, that's enough money. So why would the NFL even bother paying more than that? Because they'll pay for 100,000.
Well, I mean, you can't say it's not a part. There actually is talk of that because these college programs, these football programs and stuff are making so much money off of these kids where the kids are still going home and being destitute and struggling to pay their student loans and to eat that they're talking about paying college athletes because
I'm not talking about college athletes. I'm
the
talking about
the colleges
transition.
are making millions of dollars.
I'm
off
talking
this.
about signing kids for 100,000. That's what you sign them for 3 years in the NFL. You sign them for 100,000. They'll take it because they ain't got no money. That's okay.
I mean, no doubt. It's definitely okay. Look, you can't say the money's
up,
not a
B.
part of it. I'm trying to read through this article of how much Colin Kaepernick is actually worth. They said that now Colin Kaepernick was playing for the NFL, right? Which is a huge platform. Led the San Francisco 49ers to 2 consecutive NFC Championship games and 1 Super Bowl. Colin Kaepernick was rewarded with a record 7-year, $126 million contract in 2014. You telling me Colin Kaepernick doesn't want another contract like that?
126 million.
And
so,
he only he only received $39.4 million from the deal.
So he got $39.4 million.
$39.4.
So
But you
we-
don't know how much he had to pay his agent. You don't know how many houses he might have had, how many cars. You don't know if he had child support,
Neither do
alimony.
you. Neither do you.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's
All right,
why
so,
he needs.
So we
another
assume
job.
that he's not broke.
That's a big assumption, D. That's a big assumption. Money dries up. Okay, money dries up.
So D, you're saying that even if he had money,
If he could have
you're
a
saying
chance
that
to
if he
earn
didn't
another
have money,
$40 million, why would you not want to do that?
So you think that if he didn't have money, he should go ahead and sell out?
I'm not saying that he should have sold out. I'm saying that when is it a time to decide whether, I mean, if you go clock in at your job, you kind of sell out every day, right? You're supporting a
But I don't have
supremacist
an
institution.
I don't have an international platform for pointing out the human rights violations of police killing African Americans, unarmed African Americans constantly. It just happened again last week. Like constantly killing African Americans. I'm not giving up that platform to clock in at my job to do accounts payable. But if I had that platform Kaepernick had, I wouldn't clock in at my job at accounts payable for $100, whatever, to fucking go to work. Like fuck that shit. I'm gonna go. If I have that platform, I'm gonna be an activist. If I had the platform he had, I would be an activist.
You can be an activist, that's fine. You just can't do it for my company. So there's a door. You know what I mean? That's what the Seahawks said to him. So fine, Colin, I'm not demonizing Colin for being an activist.
What do you mean? Here's a door.
I'm not demonizing Colin for being an activist.
No, it's not. They didn't fire him. He was like,
They didn't
I'm not
fire him
doing
because
it.
he wasn't part of the team.
He
So
said,
they
he said,
decided
I'm
not to give
doing,
him the contract.
He said, I'm not doing it.
It's like, Colin, here's
And
this
they were
position,
like,
here's this contract.
So who made the decision here? Kaepernick or the Seahawks?
Both.
No.
Kaepernick made the
Kaepernick
decision,
made the
not
decision
to not kneel.
not to not kneel. Right.
And
to
Seahawks
not
made the
kneel.
decision that we don't need your services. So there's the door.
Because they're racist.
Well, D.
They are racist.
Most of these, you think these soccer teams aren't
you
racist?
can't say.
You think you referenced
I'm sorry,
soccer
that's
earlier?
deflecting.
You think soccer team owners are not racist?
You're
No,
deflecting
racist.
like shit though.
I mean,
Because
come on, you're talking about they're
we're
racist.
talking about the Ravens. Who was just Seattle Seahawks? Who we talking about? I don't really fucking know the difference.
RG3 was the same style quarterback
All I
as
know
Colin
is-
Kaepernick. RG3 is signed to a team. RG3 has a paycheck coming this season.
What if RG3 started kneeling?
Yeah, I imagine he wouldn't be signed, right? I mean,
So
and
who's
that's
racist?
the team's
That
choice.
sounds racist to me.
You can't just say that teams are racist. All these,
pretty goddamn
companies
racist.
are racist. Teams
That's
are racist. Your
pretty-
president is racist. I mean,
Yes,
damn.
yes,
and
that motherfucker is racist.
He's not the first one.
and we should call him out.
He ain't the first president to be racist.
Oh, so we just
This
kind of
country
like
was
we
built
should shield
off
our
of-
eyes and avert our gaze.
It's been
No,
done.
no, we can
What
call
can
him
you
out
do?
of the fucking racism. That's what we
I
do.
mean, we support.
as people who are
We as citizens support
Power?
supremacy, white racist supremacy every single day. When we go to Walmart and buy stuff from Walmart, you don't know if the Walton family is racist or not. You might assume they are. They're racist. You know, the Seahawks, they decided not to sign Colin Kaepernick. Maybe they are racist. I don't know, but
Nope,
you're
they're racist.
assuming
that's not the assumption. That's
that could just be a
why-
business
all right,
model.
Let's
of,
talk
hey,
about why
we don't need
why
that
did
here.
Kaepernick kneel?
That could just be a business model
Nope.
of we don't need that here.
Why did Kaepernick kneel? He knelt because
If you're part of a company, if
he
you
wanted
work
to
for
support
Coca-Cola,
activists who are fighting against police violence, against police killing unarmed black people. Right?
Right.
Yes. All right. So why
and they're
did they,
telling him we
why-
don't want you to stay. That's fine that you do that. But we don't want
they
you to
don't
do
like
it while you're associated
they don't
with this
like
team.
him kneeling because what does that represent for them? Kneeling represents what?
Well,
Not being able to sell a product.
for us,
You think
kneeling
people,
represents all the right things. For a lot of people, they were mad at Colin Kaepernick for
Why?
not kneeling. So you have to imagine that the
why were they
Seahawks would
mad?
have dealt with a lot of backlash
because
from
it's
people.
freedom of speech. If they're true Americans, they support him.
We
Agreed?
do, but there were some who didn't.
didn't.
So if you sign Colin Kaepernick, you have to understand that you're dealing with these people who,
Are racist.
okay, we cut it any way you want. You can call them racist. They're people and they spend green money. So they can be white people and be racist all they want, but they
So
spend
it's okay
green
to sell
money.
out.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying it's okay to sell out. What would you have done? I know you said you would have stopped kneeling. Claudine,
Yeah,
what
I
would you have
said
done? I know Claudine would.
Question: What would you do?
Claudine would have been like, Claudine,
The question is, what would you do? If you were broke,
how big is the contract, dog? How big is the contract? we talking about?
$230 million.
Oh, dog, come on, I'm signing that, dog. 230 million.
All right, sell out.
Look, I talked to all y'all black folks
Fuck
later.
all
I
that
talked to y'all
shit.
after I
Y'all
ain't played
niggas-
no more.
I ain't
okay?
black. I'm deep.
$230 million, dog.
I
can
ain't
buy
black.
my way into blackness. I'll be like, I'm
deep.
gonna have a big old chain, a big old Flavor Flav clock on. I'll be like, yeah, you know what I mean? I'm at the club. I'm hanging out with Diddy. You know what I'm saying?
Said black people. What are those?
I'm hanging out with Al Sharpton. I got Al Sharpton at my joint. You know what I mean? That proves I'm black. Al Sharpton's here.
Al Sharpton's here.
I'm just saying that the NFL is a large platform. And before this conversation, how many of us were talking about Colin Kaepernick? There is a level to the relevance of an issue as far as the American attention span is concerned. And Colin Kaepernick is going to fall out of relevance sooner or later. And to me, he already did.
You should sell out now.
Well, why not? Right? Why not? Because you staying in that public light keeps you relevant as far as people seeing you on TV, seeing you on the screen. Right? Maybe you would be looked at as a sellout by some, but
Close.
you'd be making a large amount of money. Larger than I'm sure that he's making on his own. Okay? Because a lot of this net worth that they're claiming that he's worth, he made from football. He made that from football. He didn't make that talking outside. You know what I mean? He made that because he went to 2 championship games in the Super Bowl.
He worked
Alright?
hard and he played good.
Well, that you know what that leads to? Winning on the field. That leads to endorsements. That leads to getting paid by Nike, getting paid by Coca-Cola, getting paid outside of the NFL. Now he doesn't have those opportunities. So you have to balance all that in your head. You know what I
wonder
mean?
if he's going to get other
Soccer players get
endorsements.
endorsements. What endorsements are they gonna?
Yeah.
Have you heard of any? Let's see.
So
Let's find out.
The way I choose to see it, and I know it's the right way to see it, is, for example, you were a lawyer and then you decide to go into architecture, right?
Right.
There's no right or wrong. It's just a choice of how you're gonna actually make it work for yourself. And the path he chose to go into might not be the NFL, might not be as much money as the NFL. It might not be as relevant to the U.S. football or U.S. politics, but he's putting himself in a path where he'll be more relevant when it comes to philanthropists, when it comes to
Policy.
UN, policy, EU, AU, and all those huge entities that has billions of money and that just need a face. Like, whatever her name is, Malala thing, she was not relevant other than her own little thing. Now look what now she's the face of like pretty much every single child around. But what happened to her was in Pakistan, in her own little town, where nobody knew her and just people wanted to kill her everywhere, right?
got the right attention.
But now she has the global attention and she's the faces of most human right thing for children, right? And what's happening in the US with police violence, it is not specific to the US. It's happening all over South America. It's happening all over Europe. It's happening all over Africa. So he might not be as relevant as you American egocentric people want to think, but he's going to be more relevant on a global scale when it comes to other things. He might not make as much.
Turns out people outside
he
the
might
US
not
don't watch
make
football.
as much money.
Then that's why he won't be as relevant, because people are going to say, well, what is Colin Kaepernick known for?
For
He
standing
played
up
American
against
football.
the man.
American football.
For standing up against the
Well,
But Muhammad Ali was a boxer, and he went across seas. It's a different sport.
Why is Muhammad Ali famous?
The thing is working against Colin Kaepernick is he didn't play long enough.
Win?
He didn't play long enough.
Muhammad Ali didn't always win.
He didn't reach a level
Why
of fame.
is he famous?
What do you mean?
It depends which circle you go in.
But at the end of the day, after he got famous for standing up against a man, he went back and boxed.
Yeah.
Colin Kaepernick didn't. He's
might
not going to play football anymore. You know what I mean?
He's not this
So
time.
you don't have that platform anymore.
Depends, dude.
It
You don't know who's not
matters,
gonna play
man.
again. You
The
don't know
Rumble
who's
in the
not gonna
Jungle
play
happened after Muhammad Ali stood up against the man.
We are
speculating
speculating
the
on
future.
things we don't actually know.
You don't know
Like
who's not
all
gonna
of
play again.
us, we don't.
I don't think he will. I don't think he will, dog. Like, if the reason you're out of the league is because you...
But it doesn't matter
Nope.
because playing isn't the pinnacle.
It's not, but
It's
it helps.
not.
That platform helps, man. Like, if
People
are going to say, well, what is
if
Colin
he
Kaepernick known
knelt,
for?
he wouldn't have the platform.
Right?
So
Right.
what the
That's
fuck
why he
would it
doesn't have the
matter?
platform. That's why he... What do you mean? If
If
he knelt, he wouldn't have the platform.
If he didn't kneel, he wouldn't have the platform.
He
If
probably
he,
would.
going forward, if
he
forward
didn't
playing
kneel?
football, if he stopped kneeling, or if
He
he
would have the
didn't-
platform 'cause he'd
if
be part of a team.
He stopped kneeling, he wouldn't have the platform. What would he say? Anytime he said anything, everybody would be like, "Oh, well, you sold out."
I don't think
we
he
don't have to
reached
listen
a
to
level
you.
of
You don't
achievement
have the moral.
in his
You
particular
don't have the
field.
moral density to stand up against people who are fighting, or standing against
listen.
people who are trying to oppress other people like you. Like, that's what they will say. Nobody will listen to him. If he sold out, he would be the Uncle Tom forever. If he stopped kneeling,
So
he
he
would
would
be
have
the
sold
Uncle
out.
Tom.
He would have sold out if he would have agreed
If
to
he
sign
stopped,
for the Seahawks.
if he stopped kneeling, and they decided to sign him because of that reason, he would be the Uncle Tom forever. We will remember him as the Uncle Tom forever. That's who we would be.
Yeah, black
It
people.
depends. It depends, man. It really does. We are
He
all
would be
speculating.
O.J.
And we
Simpson.
don't know what would happen.
He would
but
be O.J. Simpson. We would like, remember that guy who was cool for black people and then he sold out?
I'm not black, I'm
shit.
OJ.
A lot of black people sold out. I mean, what is okay? Whatever. All right. What is selling out? Is it selling out accepting a paycheck from a white guy? Is that selling out? Is selling out not
Sure,
speaking
the-
up when you know you
I'm sure
should?
that- Yes.
Well, then a lot of people sell out. Then shit. You know, I mean, the only true people we
Not
have.
everybody has the same power and position that Kaepernick had in order to make such
I
a
understand. I
large
feel-
ripple
I
in the
feel
country. You know
Kaepernick.
what I'm talking about, D. I don't know why.
I feel
We're still having
Kaepernick.
this conversation.
I feel Kaepernick.
I'm
and
with you,
I
man.
thought this was relevant because when I saw it,
It is relevant.
I agreed with him. But I'm like, you know, when do you decide to feed your family? And we don't know Colin Kaepernick's home situation. I'm sure if he was in desperate enough
have
straits,
But his family
think so.
is not eating rice and beans.
I'm sure if he was
Like,
in
they
desperate
still
enough,
have
he would have
money.
agreed. Right? So yeah, maybe in that sense he does have a lot, more money still. Or
Still-
I think
still
most
have
of these
money.
sports leagues now, because they have this thing called the Players Association, and the Players Association is like a union against the ownership group of a lot of these sports leagues. And I think the Players Association now, like there was they have this savings plan in place for a lot of the players because the career span, especially in the NFL, is so short.
So many
that-
end up failing and being broke,
Right.
or destitute on
Right.
the corners.
If he didn't
So
have
you-
money,
you-
he won't
and
give
also
up
having
millions.
set aside a
CT
portion of your-
CTE.
Yeah, brain disease, yeah. But like there was a running back a couple years ago, Marshawn Lynch. You guys might have heard of him. Marshawn Lynch, being
Yeah.
running back. They said this dude didn't spend a cent from any of his NFL paychecks. All the money he spent while he was playing was from endorsements. While he was playing, I'm saying, playing the game
Mhm.
from endorsements.
Yeah.
So all his paycheck money went into a savings account for him, right? So this savings account, now that he's retired, will pay him out year after year for the rest of his life. I think it's like $60,000, $70,000 a year or something like that, which I think a lot of these sports leagues have that kind of program set up through the collective bargaining agreement as far as with the players associations. But
I wonder if Marshawn Lynch would have sold out.
it's possible. How you know he didn't? How you know he didn't? How you know he wasn't doing something that the
he
team or
new?
ownership group didn't like and they came to him and said, we don't want you doing that anymore, and he didn't stop doing it?
He might have sold out.
there was a point where he didn't want to talk to media, right? He was refusing to talk to media, reporters and stuff like that, wearing sunglasses during interviews. He didn't want to talk to them. All of a sudden, he started talking to the media. He went to the Super Bowl. He's doing interviews and all that. Why do you think that is?
Is that something?
They were talking about it because
not much of a principle.
Well, he wasn't kneeling to protest police brutality, but
which
as far as the team,
serious.
As far as the team, if you look at it from the team perspective, he was kneeling.
Your position on whether or not you want to talk to the media.
He was kneeling for
that's kind of
police brutality, right? That argument got flipped that he was kneeling because he hates America and doesn't support the troops.
Right.
So as a team, you have to realize, hey man, there's a segment of people over here who, although you're kneeling for these reasons that you're specifying, they think you're kneeling for a totally different reason. So we signed you. We're going to have to deal with this group over here too, thinking that you hate America and that you don't want to.
False narrative.
So you got to think. Well, it's true. It's part of the narrative.
Right. It's a lie, and most people understand that that's not true. That's people watch Fox News.
But there were people who were mad that he was kneeling.
All I see is that the organization doesn't want to risk losing money, right? They don't want to, because there's no guarantee they're going to lose that money. They don't want to risk almost maybe losing some money for people who are actually fans. Like if they're fans of the team, you have a guy kneeling for 45 seconds at the beginning of the game, and they stop watching the game all together. The NFL is going down regardless, because cable TV, all that whole thing they're losing,
mm-hmm.
right? So they're losing money that way. If they're trying to hang on, I mean, I don't know what their next move is going to be. Right. All I know is that ultimately, it's not about like this. It's a racist organization. It's not really about whether or not he's doing the right thing, man. They're lunching. No.
They have
I don't know what to say about this. Like, I'm pretty much clear on it.
Well, I mean, more support to Colin Kaepernick. I mean, let's see. I'm trying to look up this article on the lifestyle of Colin Kaepernick. Let's see. He owns Jaguar, endorses Jaguar. Actually, I wonder if that's still an endorsement that he has now that he's not playing. Let's see.
What was this article?
Man, when was this? I can't see a date. Let's see. Currently has no houses listed. Owns cars, boats. Owns 14 cars.
What was the article?
Dates a girl. He dated Sanaa Lathan. Wow, he dated Sanaa Lathan. Is this true? Maybe I should skip over this article. I don't know if this article is. I don't know if this article is.
Where is it
relevant? Muzul.com, MUZUL.com. I just googled Colin Kaepernick net worth.
Okay.
Well, Colin Kaepernick owns so many shoes that he had to turn his garage into a shoe storage. So yes, he obviously has a very embellished lifestyle. I think that he needed the money. Mm-hmm. If he wasn't able to stand on his feet, I don't think he would have refused the contract. So whatever. We can have different opinions on it. Some people think he should have sold out. Some people think he shouldn't have. Maybe he's right. He shouldn't have sold out because we would have saw it as selling out. All right. So whatever. More power to Colin Kaepernick.
Just imagine if we had turned on the news and he was in that joint standing with everybody else, and they asked him yo, why are you standing? Why are you not? Because that would be a question. The reporter's gonna ask because that's the only thing he's really known for, right? Like to the public who don't follow football religiously, like the question is, hey, why aren't you kneeling anymore? And he says
football religiously,
and he says
know Colin Kaepernick.
And then he says, I'm not kneeling because they wouldn't sign me if I stopped, if I kept kneeling.
I think
we were like, oh, nigga, sold out, man.
The fact that Colin Kaepernick made most of his money prior to kneeling by playing on a stage like the NFL,
how long was
is
he
indicative
before?
of him. I think about a year. Because he started that training camp.
Right?
And he was also benched that year. He didn't play a lot that year, which I'm pretty sure him kneeling had a lot to do with that.
Maybe.
Because a lot of these guys are politically correct.
They didn't know why then. No, they're not politically correct. They're conservative.
I think conservative, yes. Okay, fine. Conservative.
It's not politically correct.
I mean, even some of the coaches started kneeling. They stopped the coaches from kneeling. The coaches don't have the benefit of the Players Association to back them up. They're not players, they're coaches. So they work directly for the team, which the player does too, but it's a fair point. It's nuanced. Yeah, did Colin Kaepernick do the right thing? I guess, man. Episode 35. Any closing thoughts, man? Infinity Wars this weekend. You guys already got your tickets?
Yep.
Did you already get your... I'm so mad at you guys.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Fine. So mad at you. Juice, you have a shirt you're wearing to the Infinity Wars premiere? Or?
This one.
Nice, man. Black Panther. Nice.
It's the only thing that matters.
I can't wait, man. This is the biggest movie of our generation. I think for sci-fi /
I wonder what Alex
nerds.
Jones stands on.
Yes. Why are you stuck on
Infinity
Alex Jones,
Wars,
man?
man.
Stop talking about
He
Alex.
probably thinks
Leave
it's real.
Alex Jones alone. Leave Alex Jones out of this.
Thanos is coming.
Is it
He's coming.
okay.
He's gonna get Infinity
You're gonna-
Gems.
You're gonna,
They're all
you're
gonna die.
You're gonna vilify Alex Jones for taking his kids to see Infinity Wars. Can a man enjoy a movie? Can he just go to the movies and enjoy a movie?
You're killing Captain America because he's the only real American in the Infinity Wars.
Oh gosh, Claudine, get ready for a lifetime of this. Get ready for a lifetime of this. Right here.
What did I
do
do
not
to
bring
myself?
up. Do not bring up Alex Jones.
What did I do to
On you guys'
myself?
honeymoon.
Oh, Jesus.
She know to do what I was doing.
Yeah, you know. You know what? Next time you're riding in the car, I want you to put on Alex Jones just because Juice doesn't like him. All right.
Oh, we could talk about it.
So
You don't like that though.
that gonna wrap us up, guys. Man, Infinity Wars. Let's go see it. I'll be in the house Saturday morning. Can't wait. Man, it's crazy. Yo, you seen a preview for that new Venom movie? It's supposed to be a Venom movie coming out. I think it's supposed to be. Is it supposed to be?
I
Rated
saw
R?
the old preview. I don't know if there's a new one.
And they coming out with the new Deadpool.
That shit looks dope.
Man, what else? I don't know. I wasn't really psyched off the first Deadpool. Yeah, it's gonna be a big summer for movies, man.
They got Domino in that joint. They got Cable in this one. It's
That
gonna be
new
crazy.
Han Solo movie's coming out.
That looks whack.
Definitely want to see.
That looks terrible. Dude.
Dog, what are you talking
Han,
about?
Did you see Han Solo?
I didn't see the movie. I saw the
No,
preview.
did
That
you
shit
see
looks
Han
awesome.
Solo in the preview?
Yeah. He doesn't have
You
to
didn't
look like
have a problem
Harrison
with that?
Ford, dog. Nobody
No,
says he
it
has to
doesn't.
look like Harrison
No,
Ford.
it's not about how he looks. It's about his demeanor.
I thought it was fine. It looked good. It
Dude,
looked good.
Harrison Ford was cool. This guy's not cool.
He might have a chance to prove
Give him
himself
a
as cool.
chance.
Yeah.
Man, you been though.
Jeez,
Give him a
Juice.
chance.
Okay, sorry.
I wonder how
I'm
Alex
excited
Jones
about-
feels about Han Solo. But don't do. All right, guys. So I guess that's gonna take us out for episode
He
35.
thinks it's real. That's what.
Once
he thinks it's
again,
happening.
I'm your host D.
This is Juice.
I
And
guess I was here, Claudine.
Look, he said Claudine. Ding. All right. So, yep. Thanks for joining us, guys. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.